A great on base percentage, guys. Batting 302 on the season with a 412 on base percentage. 9 homers, 13 doubles, 49 runs. More walks and strikeouts on the season, 46 compared to 40. Daniel Murphy, yes, he's banged 354, 12 homers, 20 doubles. You know, still a subpar defensive second baseman, though, which leads me to go to Zobrist as my choice, along with the fans. Just one other guy to quickly mention. Gene Segura, Arizona Diamondbacks, 306 average, 5 homers, 16 doubles, and 13 stolen bases. So, fans, I believe, got second base right as well, Ben Zobrist. Third base, another Cub. Cubs are getting a lot of votes in this All-Star game. There's a couple more Cubs I'm going to mention later. Chris Bryant leading third base, 2,070,000 votes. A little over a 500,000 vote lead over Nolan Arenado, 1.54 million votes. Chris Bryant definitely having a good season, but Nolan Arenado has arguably been the National League MVP up to this point. Tough to say. Rockies are a few games under 500, but Arenado has definitely raked at the plate and continued his Gold Glove defense. On the season, he's banged 298, 21 homers, 18 doubles, 63 RBIs. Nearly walked as many times as he struck out, 36 to 37 strikeouts. That's half as many strikeouts as Bryant. But Bryant is definitely runner-up. 268 average, 18 homers, and 17 doubles. Other guys to quickly mention, Matt Carpenter, Cardinals, 296 average, 11 homers, and 23 doubles. And Jake Lamb of the Arizona Diamondbacks, definitely having a strong season. 290 batting average, 15 homers, and 18 doubles. Again, fans didn't quite get this one right. I don't really have a problem with Bryant starting, but Nolan Arenado has been the best third baseman in the National League. Thus, my choice for who should be starting in the All-Star game. Shortstop, another Cub leading the vote. Addison Russell, close to 1.5 million votes. Has a little less than a 400,000 vote lead over Trevor Story of the Rockies. Rookie of the Year candidate, 1,110,000 votes. Fans, I believe, are getting this one wrong. I wouldn't pick Russell or Story. My choice would be Los Angeles Dodgers, perhaps NL Rookie of the Year favorite, Corey Seager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Got off to a halfway decent start, but has definitely started raking the ball as of late. His numbers heading into today: 297 average, 16 homers, 18 doubles, 48 runs scored. My choice as who should be starting for the National League in the All-Star game. Other guys to mention: Brandon Crawford, stellar defender, won a Gold Glove last year, 259 average, 6 homers, 42 RBIs. Aledmys Diaz of the Cardinals, 306 average, 11 homers, 16 doubles. Trevor Story, second currently in shortstop voting, 266 average, 18 homers, 18 doubles. But an extraordinary amount of strikeouts with 104. Addison Russell, he's a solid defensive shortstop. Offensive numbers not quite up to the other guys I mentioned, though. 245 average, 7 homers, 10 doubles, 40 RBIs. So there's a few guys I would choose over Russell. So this is a definite thumbs down as to me believing the fans are making the right decision. I'm going with Corey Seager at shortstop. Outfield, your current top 3 vote getters in the National League. Leading is Dexter Fowler with slightly over 2 million votes. Then we got last year's National League MVP, Bryce Harper, 1,824,000 votes. And Yoenis Cespedes of the New York Mets rounds out the top 3, and the 3 guys who will start with about 1.76 million votes. The only other 2 guys with over 1 million votes are Jason Hayward, 1.27 million votes, and Ryan Braun, 1.05 million votes. So doesn't seem likely that either of those two will be able to catch any of the three that are currently starting. Really don't have a problem with any of the three starters. You know, but I'm only going to agree with one of them, and the other two are honorable mention guys who I would put in the All-Star game, just maybe not as starters. But, you know, not really an error to include either of these guys. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But my three guys, I'll agree with Fowler. He's currently on a DL, but, you know, has been a solid table setter for the Cubs all season long. 290 average, 398 on base percentage, 7 homers, 19 doubles, 3 triples, and 6 stolen bases. You know, Fowler has helped set the trend, you know, to start off games for the Cubs as they get off to this great start. My two other choices, though, you know, Harper and Cespedes are close. Wouldn't have a problem with either, but I'm going with Starling Marte, Pittsburgh Pirates. 328 average, maybe not quite the power of a Harper or Cespedes with only 6 home runs, but 19 doubles, 3 triples, 20 stolen bases. Also provides, you know, very strong outfield defense. So Marte would be one of my choices. And I'm going third choice. It's really a toss-up between him and I would say Cespedes, but I'm going Marcell Ozuna. The Miami Marlins was a major disappointment last season for him. Was actually even sent down to the minors for a stint. This season, after getting off to somewhat of a slow start, has been on fire as of recent. 320 average on the season, 16 homers, 11 doubles, 5 triples, 44 RBIs, 47 runs. Provides pretty good defense in center field. So he would actually be my third choice to start. So I'm going with a Fowler, Marte, Ozuna outfield. Two guys who are currently slated to start in the All-Star game. No problems with either. Bryce Harper, 252 average. That's disappointing. 15 homers, 8 stolen bases. Does walk quite frequently, though. Still has a good on-base percentage. Jonas Cespedes, continuing his offensive tear as a Met. 292 average and 18 homers. You know, close between him and Ozuna as to who should be starting. A couple other guys I'll briefly mention. Christian Yelich, Ozuna's teammate with the Marlins. 309 average, 6 homers, 19 doubles. Carlos Gonzalez of the Rockies. 314 average, 15 homers, and 18 doubles. Gregor Polanco, Pittsburgh Pirates, 298 average, 10 homers, 23 doubles, and 9 stolen bases. So, you know, no fans overall in the AL and NL are not doing that bad a job. You know, maybe I have to re-listen to my episode from last year because I did this last year. You know, who I believe should be voting. Who should be starting in the All-Star game compared to who the fans are voting in. I believe there's a lot more errors, and, you know, some were blatant errors. As I mentioned, Alcides Escobar starting at shortstop was one. Did Omar Infante win AL second base? I can't remember. I know he was either first or second. Altuve might have been the guy who ended up starting, though, but you know, Infante was terrible last year. But, you know, no major complaints. You know, the only two blatant errors in either the AL or NL, not even necessarily blatant, but guys who I feel really I can't even, you know, hear an argument as to them why they should be starting, because I just really don't think they should. Yadier Molina, catcher, National League, and Addison Russell, shortstop, National League. Other than that, though, you know, nothing too bad. So, you know, fans, you're doing a pretty good job. You know, no major complaints with how the fans are doing so far this year. So, again, let's give them another round of applause. Why the heck not? You know, We'll see if any of this changes. A lot of the votes aren't really that close. Of course, the closest one is the AL outfield, where Mark Trumbo, Lorenzo Cain, and Jose Bautista aren't too far behind Mookie Betts for that third outfield position. Cain's hurt. Bautista not quite putting up the offensive numbers he normally does. So Trumbo's really the only one of the three I could, hear an argument as to why he should start in the All-Star game, tied for the AL lead with 21 home runs. The fans don't vote for starting pitcher. National League, you probably have to go with Clayton Kershaw, I believe. Jake Arrieta, of course, is another choice. Jose Fernandez having quite the solid season for the Miami Marlins. Very close between Kershaw and Arrieta, but Kershaw's a lower ERA, 11-1 record, plenty more strikeouts, more innings pitched, much lower whip. Not even like much lower, because Arrieta has under a 1 whip, but Clayton Kershaw's is at 0.67, so he's just been outstanding. Of course, then there's Madison Bumgarner, Noah Syndergaard, John Lester, Johnny Cueto, Julio Teheran. There's so many good National League pitchers this year. Even like a Jason Hammel. So a lot of solid choices. There are going to be some good pitchers that are left off of the National League All-Star team. Not as many good pitchers in the American League, at least not to that level as their their NL counterparts. Who should start in the American League? Chris Sale was absolutely dominant to start the year. Had a little bit of slippage, but he's gotten back on track in his last 3 or 4 starts. I'd probably give him the slight nod, leading the American League in wins, under 1 whip, under 2.80 ERA. Stephen Wright leads the American League in ERA. Wouldn't be a bad choice. Danny Salazar has been absolutely stellar for the Indians. Marco Estrada, Cole Hamels pitched very well for the Rangers. Those are some guys who should possibly be starting for the American League, or at least make the All-Star team. I would probably go with Chris Sale, but guys like Wright or Salazar, wouldn't have a problem seeing them start either. So that will about do it for episode number 73. I thank you all once again so much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. You don't have to agree with everything I say. Maybe you do believe that Chris Bryant should be starting at NL third base, or Eric Hosmer should be starting at American League first base. I got no problem with that. They're both having strong seasons. That's what's so great about this sports, though, is, the ability to debate things like this. In the long run, do these things really matter much? Not really, but it's still an absolute blast to debate. I definitely enjoy doing so. So I hope you enjoyed listening. Next week, episode number 74. Probably throw some baseball in there and, talk about NBA free agency, which will be starting on Friday. We should have a clearer idea as to where some players are going. Will we know where Kevin Durant, Mike Conley, Al Horford, Hassan Whiteside, Pau Gasol, Dwight Howard, guys like that? Will we know where they're going by then? Stay tuned. So, until next week, I love you all so much. Goodbye.